Hello, hello, hello. It is the Trap Witch here for those of you who know me. And for those of you who don't, I am the Trap Witch on Instagram. I am a spiritual coach slash advisor slash guide. And I do daily motivations that are based on intuitive readings and just general everyday spiritual guidance and advice to empower people and to uplift their spirits as they go through their own ascension and on their own path. I'm coming to bring this reading for the full moon in Cancer that's coming up on January 2nd. It's going to be in Capricorn season. So what are my personal thoughts and feelings just off the back about it? Cancer moon always makes me emotional. Cancer is a water sign. It always makes people emotional for the most part. Cancers are very emotional. So being that it falls in Capricorn season, and Capricorn is about the goat. For me, coming into this moon, it's about being the goat, right? Greatest of all times. And Cancer, I think Cancer is going to bring out a lot of emotions for people that are going to bring them to the point where they're going to ask themselves, yo, if I am going to be great, I got to get grounded. That's what comes to me off the back, because a goat is a very grounded animal. If you've seen a goat climb a mountain, their footing is impeccable. And sometimes in order for you to be grounded, you have to be in control of your emotions. And I think that since the eclipse, we can agree that nothing has been the same, and that a lot of emotions through the retrogrades and the eclipses and all of these things have been really pulling out emotions in people that some, thought might have been dormant, or just like things that are being brought up that they didn't even realize were issues. So going into this 2018 in this season with this moon, the first moon of the year, I really think it's about checking your emotions at the door. Checking your emotions and asking yourself, are you going to let them get in the way of what you want or being great? Because a lot of times we let our emotions control us, and emotions are energy in motion, and what you give energy to with them is what manifests. And if those are negative emotions, negative thoughts, negative whatever have you, it's going to get in your way. And it's enough that we have the obstacles that we've overcome, but are we going to still continue to build more for ourselves? Because sometimes our emotions can be the mountains we build ourselves, right? That we allow to get in our own way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do an intuitive tarot reading to ask Spirit what their message is for this full moon in Cancer. I almost said Capricorn. Full moon in Cancer as we enter Capricorn season. And so I'm going to ask them what we need to know. What is their advice in using this energy and going forth into it, into the new year? Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull 5 cards from the New Orleans Voodoo Tarot deck. And then I'm going to pull 1 card from the Doreen Virtue Archangel deck. And this is what I usually do on my morning readings on Instagram to give me a message to empower people. Okay? So let's see what they have to say about maximizing and using this energy to your benefit and doing the work to help you start off the year with a bang. Okay. If you want to take a few deep breaths with me, you can too. Okay. Spirit, we call you in on behalf of the collective. We ask for the highest good of all those involved with harm to none. We ask Elegua to open the roads to precise messages. We ask at this time, what is it subconsciously underlying below the surface that can be brought to the attention of the collective at this time that can help facilitate them in their growth and their ascension, and using the first energy of this moon of the year, which is a full moon in Cancer in Capricorn season. What can you tell us about maximizing the use of this energy in order to facilitate prosperity, abundance, growth, ascension? I call in the assistance of my Egun and my spirit guides and any other energy of benevolence that wishes to assist in this reading in order to facilitate a message that can be of constructive use. What is it that we need to know for this energy of the full moon in Cancer this January 2nd, 2018? Perfect. Okay. We're going to pull the angel card at the end. So we're going to get into the tarot cards first. Next year, keep in mind 2018 is going to be a 2-year. 2 plus 0 is 2, plus 1 is 3, plus 8 is 11, 2. Next year has a lot to do with partnership, okay? I personally am going into my own 2-year in a 2-year. And this reading speaks a lot of union and partnership, energy exchange, okay? Which I've already been saying. A good friend of mine and colleague, fellow Bruja, she posted tonight that 2017 was about pulling chairs away from the table, okay? And next year is going to be a year where you're just going to have to be frank. A seat at the table is going to be well earned. We're not allowing people to sit at the table anymore that we can't trust or the energy isn't right. We know what happened at the Last Supper. So we don't want any of those situations going down. The first card we pulled is Gran Ebo, reverse. Gran Ebo shows a picture of a woman sitting on a porch in reflection, okay? Being that it's reverse, maybe you haven't done this reflection already, or maybe you haven't done enough reflection. But it's time to do reflection on what does the Two of Cups represent? The Two of Cups is all about partnership and enterprise, okay? Partnership and enterprise. I call the Two of Cups the Jay-Z and Beyonce card of the tarot. And the best way I like to talk about the Two of Cups is because in the traditional tarot it shows a man and a woman. They're standing face to face and each has their own cup. When they're standing face to face and they each have their own cup, in a proper energetic exchange or a union, you're supposed to be able to balance your energies, okay? Being that if his cup is running empty and hers is a little bit more full, she pours into his. If his is more full and hers is a little empty, he pours into hers. This does not necessarily only mean in relationships and friendships. This can be within your own female and male energy, okay? This can mean you need to get better at balancing your own energies and the partnerships of your energies and your duality within in order to build for yourself. A lot of people might have realized that this year, coming into the end of this year, is that they haven't been using their feminine energy and their masculine energy to come together to build for them. They might have good ideas about how to create something, but not how to execute it. Or people might be a good doer, but they're not creative. So next year clearly starts off with taking into consideration what partnerships that you have that are lacking. Is it your partnership within? Sometimes our partnerships from within affect our partnerships without. A lot of people can't work together and they can't build together because they are not complete within their duality. They're not balanced within it. Why do I call this the Jay-Z and Beyonce card of the tarot? Because somebody posted a quote that said, Beyonce was already rich when she met Jay-Z. Jay-Z made her wealthy. So what does this mean in our partnerships, okay? Maybe we haven't found the partnerships that add to us, okay? The way that I like to see next year and how I explain it, and it's great that this card came up, is that sometimes we're waiting for people to invite us to take a seat at their table. Again, going off the table thing, right? Sometimes people wait for us to invite them to take a seat at the table. when everybody should have their own table. You know how when we ask people, what do you bring to the table? We need motherfuckers to bring the table to the table. And that's the way I like to explain it, because you should have your own table, and whoever is pulling up a table has enough on there that eventually the table is just one long table. It's a gigantic feast, right? Everybody's bringing something to the table. It's an extension of the table, okay? Because too many of us are waiting for people to pull up a chair to the table and eat from what we have, and we might not have enough left over to give them. So instead of you asking someone to pull up a chair to your table, ask them to bring the table to the table. Because J and B, I like to use them as an example, because if each one of them left each other, they'd both be good. And so sometimes going forward, the reason why we can lack enthusiasm, especially I feel like in friendships, in relationships, and in business, is because, hold on, I dropped the card. I stay dropping cards. Oh. This card is reversed, the Petra Unsi, okay? It shows a woman who's very fiery, who's very passionate, very red. She knows what she wants, okay? Passion, fire. She knows what she wants. And so for me, this is saying, creatively, a lot of us know what we want. But why does our enthusiasm go down? Because it's reverse. Third card, Secret Society's card, reverse. The Secret Society's card shows somebody with their head on the chopping block, with all of these people around looking at them, okay? Compromise. That is the word that comes to me. Compromise. Reverse. Why is this guy's head on the chopping block? What did he compromise in order to be amongst these people that clearly aren't his people? Okay? How many of us will compromise ourselves to be a part of somebody's table? To have a chair at someone's table and compromise ourselves when they're not even in our best interests? That sometimes that we realize that we sacrifice and we get to the table and there's nothing on there that we want to eat. There's nothing on there that's going to nourish us. Nothing that is going to balance us out. And what I love about this reading so far is that, again, the number 2 pops up. The 2 of Swords. The 2 of Swords, which is actually the Nan Nan Baklu in this deck. It shows 2 men under a tree, and they are exchanging the secrets of magic. One has got a mandrake root and one has some herbs, and they're making a fair exchange. Again, someone's pulling a table up to your table, my G's. Fair exchange. And because it's reversed, many of us have had to learn from these experiences, right? Maybe you've had to learn from the unfair exchanges that you've had. What have you learned from 2017 and the unfair exchanges that you've had? Who have you tried exchanging magic with or energy with or building or sitting at a table with and it just didn't work out? That you put yourself in a compromising position. You're like, man, you don't even have nothing here that I want. And then your enthusiasm went down and you didn't build anything with them at all whatsoever. Okay? And so going forward, with the 2 of Swords, the 2 of Swords in the traditional tarot shows a woman who's blindfolded, 2 swords across her heart. And the thing is, a lot of times when we get into partnerships, right? We get into partnerships, whether, like I said, whether they be friendships, whether they be business, whether they be love. A lot of times we make heartfelt decisions on blind faith. But right now I feel like, being that that card is reversed, maybe you've made enough decisions on blind faith now to last you a lifetime. Maybe now you just have to have better discernment. You're not taking blind faith on nobody no more. What you are going to do is build your motherfucking table. And you're going to match your table up to anybody else who's bringing anything to your table. And if they're pulling something up and it looks like a chair, nah, my G, that's a chair. I need another table. You feel me? We've gone through enough to now recognize that anybody that we are partnering with and taking chances with is bringing more to the table than what we built. Okay? When everything is said and done, we'll have still things left over for ourselves, and nothing we won't feel like we're not depleted and someone just pulled up and robbed us and left. No. Because also I need you to keep in mind what I'm hearing is you have to take pride in the fact that if you've spent time building what you need, you've got something to lose. That's why you need to pretend like you have something to lose. Even if you haven't built everything you desire, you need to start acting like you've got something to lose. Because motherfuckers that ain't got nothing to lose, they're willing to take from anybody because they have nothing to lose. So if you know you have something to lose, you better be more protective of your energy. Right? You know, right? You know, this is an example. Have you ever had like a thing of food and say you got 2 biscuits, and although you have 2 and you would enjoy eating 2, you ask someone, hey, do you want a biscuit? And you kind of hope that they say no. Because you're just like, I would rather have both my biscuits. And so imagine you offered them and then they reach over and they're like, that was a good biscuit, and they take the other one. Stop giving people the opportunity to do that. Stop. The last card is Agwe La Flambeau. Okay? Agwe La Flambeau shows a boat that's going over this lava, and it talks about how well that the boat is built and how it can overcome the lava with a lot of, perseverance. But this is the 4 of Wands, and this card talks about in the book, it talks about how this can be a union of opposites, and also that it can end in marriage. And again, there's just this ongoing union throughout this whole reading, and I need you to keep in mind that it doesn't always necessarily have to do with other people outside of you, because everything begins with you. But if you know the sanctity of your marriage within yourself, you're not going to compromise anything that's going to disrupt that. And I think many of you even have to realize that the energy exchanges, because this is what's coming to me now, the energy exchanges, you might be robbing yourself in one of your energies where one is more dominating than the other, where your female energy, like keep this in mind with Cancer, with coming up in Cancer and being emotional. Our emotions are more female based, and so sometimes we can have an unfair exchange between the emotions where it's like, damn, like for all the female emotions that you have, you need a little bit more masculine so that the exchange is fair and that you can make better decisions. And so that you can have a happy ending, because the 4 of Wands in this last card, it talks about like being able to persevere and get to your happy ending, or getting to the destination, or the marriage, or the happy scene of union. But it's going to take some work, I feel like. And the work, maybe a lot of us have done the work, but you have to have better discernment now. You have to have better discernment. And even when I said between your own energies within, your male energy and your female energy can have 2 tables. Your male energy could be, actually, let's reverse this the other way around, because for me it's easier to do that way. Your female table, which is creation and your emotions or whatever, it could be full. It could be full of ideas and things or whatever. But say the other table that you need is a table with all the utensils and all the dishes and all the whatever to be able to properly eat off of it. And you might be so consumed on all the food and all the dishes that you're like, well, how do I eat this? You got to make sure all your balance, everything is balanced, because we're talking about building next year. We need to have all of our energies in balance. Okay, what do you want to create? How are you going to do it? What's that going to build up? We have to keep that mind overall in general. I'm starting to ramble a little bit, y'all, because I'm tired, but let me go ahead and pull an angel card to tie this all together. Comfort. Archangel Azrael, I am with you in your time of need, helping your heart to heal. Many of us have gotten burnt this year. We've gotten burnt. We've got our feelings shit on. We've, you know. And so it's funny because the angel in this is holding up a wreath in her hands. And for me, a wreath is a sign of welcoming, right? We always often see wreaths on doors. And be careful of who you let knock at your door next year. Be careful of who you invite into the table. Make sure they're bringing something to it. Make sure that they're bringing an extension to the table and not just a seat. Because maybe a lot of us have gotten comfortable with allowing that behavior in the past. And you can find comfort that it doesn't have to happen again if you know what your value is and how you plan to build, and that you only need other people that are extensions of that plan, if that makes sense. Whew. The GOAT, the greatest of all time. Is that what you're going to be going into this season? How are you going to come out on top? By staying in control of your emotions. And also, you know, when you're building with people, you don't just need to go off of, hey, I'm just gonna, my feelings tell me I should just go with them off of GP. Nah, my G, because then you're gonna end up in your feelings later on and depleted, and then you're gonna have your head on the chopping block because you compromised. Because you compromised to have a seat at the table or invite someone to your table, and they weren't, no, negative. Okay, I'm rambling way too much now, so I hope this helps you guys with this energy, what to take into consideration. And if you would like to book a session with me or just see what I'm about, you can visit me on Instagram, www.thetrapwitch.com. I appreciate all the love all the time. And here's to 2018 and you guys capitalizing on the best that it has to offer. If it ain't no OG shit, what I'm calling OG from now on is obedience and grounding, you know? It takes obedience and grounding to be an OG. And OGs have been in the game and they've seen a lot, and they know that anybody that they surround themselves with has to be on some legendary shit. And so take this GOAT season and get your feelings in check and tell yourself, man, I gotta stay obedient and grounded and know what I want to build and what legends I want to leave, and I want to be, you know, whatever, and not accept anything that is less than that, anything that is less than legendary. Okay? So if you would like to contact me, The Trap Witch on Instagram or thetrapwitch@gmail.com. My website is www.thetrapwitch.com. If you would like to possibly book a session, I do mentorship, guidance, counsel, intuitive tarot, and helping people come up with working solutions to their problems. Yeah. I hope you guys have a blessed, prosperous new year. Be safe. Keep your energy protected. Keep your spirits up. And know that this too we shall heal through. Okay? Love and light, y'all. Peace.